Welcome to another segment of Short Clip Lessons. My name is Hector Aguilar, and today we will be focusing on common fingers. Now, common fingers is a concept that is very important for us as guitarists to understand. It is important because it makes our playing a lot smoother. It makes learning a song a lot easier, and it helps us not do so much work. Remember, there's a lot of things that we have to think about as musicians. So if we understand this concept, we'll be able to do things a lot better and quicker. Okay. Now, essentially, the concept of common fingers is when two chords have, of course, a finger or more than one finger in common. So that means that when you go from one chord to the next, there's specific fingers that do not move. Now, there's many combinations of this, and it won't always work. But for today, we will be focusing on our C chord and E minor chord. Now remember, a couple of things to keep in mind is every chord has a number of strings that we need to strum. Our C chord begins from string number 5, and we should only hear 5 strings. Now remember, it's a quick attack with the arm and the finger, whichever finger you're using. If we do that, we're not strumming, okay? But we're gonna focus more on what our left hand is doing. Now for our C chord, remember we have finger 1, which is our index finger on the 2nd string, fret number 1, our finger 2 on the 4th string, fret number 2, and our finger 3 on our 5th string, fret number 3. Now we're gonna strum this chord 4 times. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the next chord that we're going to do is E minor. Now I know some of us know the Spider-Man chord as E minor, or E minor as a Spider-Man chord, which is good. This is not incorrect. But for the purpose of this exercise, I want you to use finger 1 on string number 5, fret number 2, and finger 2 on string number 4, fret number 2. And the reason for that is, if we look right here, finger 2, when we go from C to E minor, in this form right here, finger 2 will not move. So that is our common finger between C and D minor. A lot less movement. Remember, we want to make our movements smoother so that we're not getting that open string sound when we have to shift if we do the E minor as a Spider-Man, the Spider-Man chord. Okay, so let's do E minor now 4 times with finger 1 on string number 5, fret number 2, and finger 2 on string number 4, fret number 2. Now this chord, E minor, has 6 strings that we need to strum. So we're going to start from string number 6, and we're going to strum it 4 times. Ready? And 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Now we're going to combine. We're going to start from C. We're going to strum it 4 times, and then we're going to give ourselves 4 beats of silence so that we can prepare finger 1 and shift it to string number 5. Remember, finger 2 does not move. Why? Because that is our common finger between C and D minor. So let's go from C. Ready? And 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Remember the silence to prepare. 4 and 1. 6 strings right here. 3, 4, and silence. Now we're going to go back to our C chord. Ready? Finger 2 didn't move because it's a common finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, and silence. Leave finger 2 down as you shift finger 1. Ready? And 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. You're going to do that, I don't know, 10,000 times until you get comfortable with it. Once you get comfortable with that movement, you're going to strum it 3 times, and you're going to give yourself 3 beats of silence. Ready? So let's try that exercise now. Ready? And 1, 2, 3. Silence. Finger 2 is our common finger. Ready? E minor. 1, 2, 3. silence, then you go back to C, and you do that again a few times until you get comfortable going back and forth. Now remember, the whole idea is to make sure that we're not lifting our finger too off the string. So if you lift the finger as you shift, then you go back to your first try. So let's say you're going to give yourself 4 tries before you move on to the next part of the exercise. If on number 3 you lift the finger up, you go back to the first try. Okay? So now once you do that a few times, you get comfortable with it. You strum it 2 times and you give yourself 2 beats of silence. So ready? And C, 5 strings. 1, 2, silence, shift without lifting finger 2. E minor, 2, and silence, don't lift finger 2, and C, 2, silence, E minor, and 6 strings, 2. Once you do that a few times, you get comfortable with it, you go on to 1 strum and 1 beat of silence. So starting from C chord, ready, and 1, silence, 1, silence, C, silence, E minor, silence. And you do that over and over again. Once you feel you got that and you feel like you're ready to move on to the next part because you've done it perfectly, or not perfect, but 99.9% success rate, then you're going to strum it 4 times each without any silence. Now remember, you need to do these exercises nice and slow so that you're giving yourself enough time to think about what comes next. There's a lot of little things that are going to happen, so we need to give ourselves enough time to think about that. Right? We got to make sure that finger 2 doesn't move, that finger 1 jumps up during the E minor chord, or that finger 1 and 3 come down during the C chord, making sure we're not doing it slow, we're playing the right amount of strings. All these little things that we have to think about. So make sure you do it nice and slow so that you do this correctly and properly, okay? So let's try that. C, going to E minor, back to C, back to E minor, over and over again. Ready? 4 times each, nice and slow. Ready, and 1, 2, 5 strings for C, 4 E minor, don't lift finger 2, E minor, 3, 6 strings, back to C, 5 strings. Now remember, as you do the shift, finger 2 is our common finger, so it does not move. It does not come off the string. Back to C. And you do this as many times as you want. Okay? Well, that is today's lesson on common fingers. Thank you.